Hi, I'm Gil Kennedy, President and CEO of Har-co Credit Union. Today I have the pleasure to be with Josh Levinson of Charm City Run. Charm City is a foundation and a starting point on Main Street here in Bel Air. So we're so glad to have you here and have the opportunity to speak with you. And thank you for taking time out of your busy day.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate that. Josh, I typically like to start with giving my guests the opportunity to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I grew up in the Baltimore area, and then I went to school in Baltimore and went to college in Virginia, and had a banking job actually in North Carolina with the old First Union.
There you go.
And it was there for 2 years, and then I came back and taught and coached at my high school, Gilman in Baltimore, for a while. And I thought, I really like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're outside a lot, you're coaching kids, which is very rewarding, and I love that environment. I just thought I had like sort of one more hurdle to sort of pass to see if I wanted to pursue a career in business or stay in education. And I went to the University of Texas Business School in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where this sort of idea really started to ferment. There was a great running specialty store in Austin called Runtex.
Wow.
And my wife and I would run around Town Lake, and they would give out water and free Powerade every weekend. And my wife said, we got to start shopping there.
Wow.
And we started shopping there, and the environment, hopefully like ours, was just magical.
Hmm.
You know, you'd go in there, people of all walks of life, everybody wanting to do better. You know, you had the elite athletes that wanted to get a little faster, and you had the first-time walkers who wanted to get started. And the first-time walkers were almost more inspiring.
Interesting.
And we talk a lot about being in the inspiration business.
Mm-hmm.
And it was sort of the first time in my career where, coaching a little bit, but it was sort of the first time in my career where, you know, I just had this euphoria every time I was in that environment.
Mm-hmm.
So I started doing their training programs. We had our firstborn, and then we had the decision a lot of young families have, you know, do we move home or do we stay?
Mm-hmm.
And we moved home, and we opened the first Charm City Run in Timonium, you know, 18 and a half years ago.
Wow. So how many stores do you have now?
We have 7 now.
And where are they located?
So they're all around the Maryland area. So there's Timonium, Annapolis. There's 2 in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're sitting here in Bel Air, which is our second location. The second location of business is always the hardest, I think, you know. And then we're in Columbia, Frederick, as well.
Well, your model certainly has been tested and certainly has been successful. I know I have been a runner all my life, and you know, I come into your store and buy my shoes because I know that I can talk to somebody that understands the shoe and understands how I run, and then match me with the right pair.
Right.
And it certainly makes a big difference. So is it just retail, or do you have other aspects of your business?
So we look at 4 major aspects of our business. There's, you know, running specialty retail. There's endurance events. So we have an event business that manages, directs, and times about 110 races a year. And then there's another 20 that we own and operate, that we started from nothing. We create it, we direct it, we execute. And then we have a training business as well. So we're training about 2,000 runners a year.
Okay.
And then, you know, our community aspect, which we take very seriously. A lot of giving back to kids in need for fitness, education, and then the environment.
Wow. Yeah, you're a big supporter of the community, and I know not just the running community, but the community in general.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the races that you support around this Harford County region?
My gosh, so we have Moonlight in the Equestrian Center.
Okay.
You know, the Holiday Hustle.
Yes.
And then, of course, the Crown Jewel, the Town Run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was, and by the way, they went off this year,
Yes.
and that was nice to see.
And that was a big test for us, and kudos to Harford County. They've been great to us. We've had, you know, a lot of mitigation plans with COVID, obviously, very detailed plans. I give the event director, Will Murdoch, who actually went to see Milton Wright up here, a lot of credit. because we put forth a very detailed plan, and the county kept working with us. They asked a bunch of questions, and we kept getting back to them, and eventually, they allowed us to do the town run, and it went off really well, and we kept people safe.
Wow, that's incredible. Speaking of keeping people safe, when March rolled around, it was a game changer for everybody.
Yeah.
Life began to morph differently.
I tried to black it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Me too.
I'll try to remember. Yeah.
So talk to me about how this period has changed your business and how, what you've seen in the community of running and sports in general.
Wow. Hope you have a couple hours. So when it sort of became, very intense, sort of the middle of March, we were coming up on one of our biggest races, the Shamrock 5K, which kind of kicks off the season.
Mm-hmm.
Major sponsors, Under Armour, Kelly, and we were working with the city on whether or not to have the event. And ultimately, they left it up to us. And after talking to our medical professionals in MedStar, we decided that we couldn't do it, and it was the right call. A day later, everything was shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Store-wise, we went from doing, 0.5% revenue online to our entire business being online within a week.
Wow.
And small businesses and local small businesses that hustle, hopefully we can turn on a dime
Mm-hmm.
and make something happen. In terms of the community, the outpouring of support was just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you ask anybody, shopping local matters.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
people like to see local small business succeed.
Mm-hmm.
They give back more, they do more for the environment. They don't fire people, they hire people and pay a fair wage and that kind of thing. But, when there's really a crisis, you really see the outpouring of love and support.
Mm-hmm.
And, folks that can get their shoes on Amazon or DSW or Dick's weren't doing that.
Mm-hmm.
They were coming to support us, and not only with their wallet, but also with a few words of encouragement as well.
Wow, that's really special.
It was special, and we were touched. And look, it's a privilege, and it's a responsibility for us.
As I ride around town, I see a lot of people running. I see more people running than I have in the past. And it may be, people are running during the day because they're working from home, which I think probably is an aspect of it. But I think in general, people, when the gyms weren't open, they transitioned to, well, let me start running. Is that what you're finding in the community that you support?
Absolutely. So many more people are running and walking. You touched on a couple things. One is some of their other outlets to exercise were shut down. Classes, studios, working out with their personal trainers inside, pretty much everything
Mm-hmm.
inside. Combined with the weather's really nice here.
Mm-hmm.
So people sort of reattach to, wow, it's kind of beautiful outside.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to be inside, even
Mm-hmm.
when that reopens. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of nice to be here.
Right.
They were also working from home, schooling their children at home.
Mm-hmm.
Their partners were working at home. You need some mental health.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get outside, and you need your alone time.
Mm-hmm.
And so we saw this massive outpouring of people into the streets, onto the trails, and this was their primary form of exercise. And to your point, it connects with COVID in the sense of there's some urgency to get healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's be honest.
Right.
The healthier people have a better chance of not getting it, and if they get it, their symptoms and how it plays out being a lot less severe,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So there's an urgency to health here. I hope it continues.
Mm-hmm.
People have certainly been given the benefit of time through this. And as things start to open up and as work becomes more intense and family pressure becomes more intense, that time will get squeezed a little bit. But I hope that people are resilient to just say that this is important to me, it's important to my family, and I'm going to keep exercising.
Mm-hmm. And I noticed that, and I've done a couple of these virtual races. What's the receptivity of that in the community of runners and walkers?
It's been amazing. I mean, I liken it to the store. You know, we had almost 0% of our business online, then 100% of our business online. We had 130 events, and then we went down to 0, and those all went online. We talked a little bit about this before the interview started, but the technology around virtual has gotten so good, and the urgency to make that technology better has gotten so good that the virtual race is not going away. And social media has also added a factor to that. So if you and I finish a virtual race, we can run it together, 6 feet apart. We can run it in the same place, and we can post our times instantaneously online. You know, so these events that went virtual, a lot of these charity fundraisers, they ended up doing okay, and it was a real scary time.
Right.
A lot of their costs went away. You know, they could bring their community together virtually, and they could still raise money. So that was a wonderful thing that we saw. And some of the other things that we saw are families that, let's say, have had a family member that unfortunately has suffered from a disease, and they run in support of this, and they raise money in support of this. And let's say a sister lives in South Carolina and a brother that lives in California. They can do this race together, and they can high five over Instagram, and they've created this amazing community, this bond.
Wow.
So virtual will decline. People want to be together. To your point, you sign up for a race, you want to be on that starting line with other people. The community is ready to go. You know, I think the governor's done an amazing job, and the officials have done an amazing job. And when they say it's time to open up, we think our races are going to blow up. We think there's going to be a lot of people that want to be together.
Right. Yeah, I think the community of runners, and again, I'll put myself into that, really is biding their time and doing these other things. I would agree with you. I think there is a place for virtual, and it's a way for people that perhaps haven't raced before, really to get a taste of what, hey, I was part of an event, and then maybe that'll transition. So maybe this is an avenue of a continuum of various races that is open and available to the community of walkers as well as runners, right? This has been a wonderful opportunity to get to know you and get to know your store here. We're actually going to provide some shots of other products that you sell. You have clothing here, you have socks, you have not just shoes.
Right.
So, and you also have supplements for runners, and diet becomes really important, obviously. I always like to close our sessions with the opportunity for my guests to share a thought or a perspective about the times that we're in. So with that, would you like to share a thought or perspective?
That's heavy. You gave me a little bit of warning, but it's still heavy. I think I keep coming back to this word civility. And in tough times, there's an urgency to sort of come together and help out your fellow man and fellow woman. As the economy reopens and as things get back to normalcy, I hope we don't lose the willingness and ability for all of us to be civil. It's no surprise to anyone where the national discourse is right now. And how entrenched people are in their views. And as a nation, we've lost a lot of civility, and it makes me really sad. And I think it weighs on all of us a little bit in ways that we sort of can't quantify. So I hope we can all be nicer to one another and do something for one another, whether or not we agree with their views or not. And if you can't find any other reason to come together, let's run together.
That's
or
it.
Take a walk together.
I've generally found the community of runners to be very, very civil, very nice, very supportive of each other.
I agree.
Having done many races, I've had people run by me when I was having not the best race, asking me, was everything okay?
Right.
And these are people I don't even know.
And a lot of those people don't look like you, and they don't have the same jobs you have, and it's the spirit of the sport that I love. And again, it's a privilege to be part of it.
Well, you've done a wonderful job, and you're, as I said, a foundation on Main Street, and we certainly are grateful to have, business owners like you supporting our community and giving back to our community.
Yeah, privileged to be in Harford County. It's a great place to do business.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I want to remind everyone to like us, and if you would, once you view this, share it with your friends and family. We appreciate you taking the time to continue to watch these videos. Thank you.